Okay. All right. It's now 9:02 a.m. on Tuesday, April 15th, 2025, and I call to order this meeting of the Maine Gambling Control Board. My name is Steve Silver, and I am the board chair. Before we go any further, I'll explain the circumstances under which we're holding this meeting. This is a hybrid meeting. The physical location today is at Oxford Casino. We thank them for their hospitality. There's also a virtual attendance option via Zoom. And actually today, all the board members that are attending are in person. So the folks on Zoom are members of the public or some unit staff who will be participating. And it's the board's hope that those who attend both in person and virtually will have the same amount of public comment, and we're able to receive the agenda in advance. For those who would like to start getting our agendas in advance, you can contact Director Champion and he'll get you set up for that. It is posted online along with the Zoom link. So we have a new board member. So I'll let you introduce yourself and where you're from in Maine.
I'm Darcy Maine Boynton from Hamden.
And Chief Marsh.
Good morning, everyone. Noel March, Hamden, Maine.
Bickmore.
Hi, Kelly Bickmore, Cape Elizabeth.
And I'm Steve Silver from South Portland. So, and Mr. Hanslip is not available today, but we've got 4 members, which is a quorum. So we are set to go. And so let's move first to the minutes from February 18th, 2025. Mallory, there's one change I noticed on page 4. The vote for the renewal license for Glory Global, where it lists the names as 2 no's and 2 yays. And then it says 4 in favor, and I'm almost certain it was 4 in favor.
Yeah. Correct
that. So other than that, anyone else have any issues? Okay. You want to move to approve?
I move we approve the minutes of the last Gambling Control Board meeting.
All right. I'll second it, and well, Darcy, you'll abstain from this vote. You weren't there, but start with you, Chief March.
Aye.
Ms. Bickmore.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Mr. Hanslip's absent, and that passes. So with that, we'll move to the operations report from Deputy Director Motti.
Morning, this is the operations report for April 15th, 2025. Operations in February, there were 4 shipments of machines and or associated equipment shipped to or from licensed facilities. In March, there were 20. There were 27 work orders completed in February and 69 in March, which range from new game installations, removals, changing themes, options, and communication issues. There were 60 entries in the inspector pass-on log in February and 67 in March to share information not only from within the facility, but also between the facilities. There are currently 8 formal complaints with status updates and are reported in the complaint dashboard. 1 consent agreement is being presented to the board later in this meeting. 3 consent agreements are being completed with the Assistant Attorney Generals assigned to the board, and 1 is under review by the complaint committee, and 3 are being responded to by the facilities. There were no patron complaints. There are 22 self-exclusions in February and March, 17 1-years, 1 3-year, 2 5-year, and 2 lifetime. Total as of March 2025 is 98 1-years, 47 3-years, 63 5-years, and 264 lifetime. Lori Manson from AdCare gave the following information regarding calls to 211 for February and March of 2025. Problem gambling calls, there were 23, 14 of which were male, 10 of which were female, and 2 were veterans. There were 0 under the age of 19. There was 1 between the ages of 20 and 24, 11 between 25 and 44. There were 8 between 45 and 64, 1 between 65 and 74, and none over 75. Age unknown, there were 6. Casino related, 11. Lottery, 0. Sports wagering, 2. Online gambling, 11. And other, 6. Oxford PD reported 34 calls in February and March, some of which were 3 arrests, 6 potential illegal activity, 2 risk management, 6 medical, 4 suspicious activity, 4 possible intoxication, 3 potential driving under the influence, and 5 undesirable conduct. Bangor PD reported 32 calls in February and March, some of which were 6 under the influence, 1 theft, 1 traffic offense, 2 welfare checks, 2 fraud, 3 disorderly, 3 medical, and 5 open line 911 calls. That is the report.
Thank you. Any questions from the board for Deputy Director Motti? All right, thank you. Moving along, we'll go to the financial report from Auditor Alex Jutov.
Good morning. The report for February, March 2025. Tax revenue collected from all casinos to the state of Maine decreased by 14.75%, or by $831,698 in February, and decreased by 0.61%, or by $36,691 in March 2025 compared to the same months in 2024. Total tax collected from both casinos during 2025 so far was $16,112,139, which is a decrease of 1.72%, or $282,468 compared to prior year. Specifically by casino, Oxford Casino reported total net win from slot machines of 7.55, and total win from table games of 23% for February 2025, and total net win from slot machines of 7.39%, and total win from table games of 27.92% for March 2025. Hellman Casino reported a total net win from slot machines of 7.93%, and total win from table games of 23.69% for February 2025, and total net win from slot machines of 8.61%, and a total win from table games of 20.18% for March 2025.
Oh, sorry, I'm on.
In advance deposit wagering, we discovered this decreased by 20.9%. Or $3,644 in February 2025, and decreased by 24.3%, or $4,567 in March 2025 compared to same months last year. Total revenue collected from out-of-state and in-state races so far this year was $40,370, which is a decrease of 22%, or $11,370 from the same time last year. That's it for my report. And as a side note, we anticipated there will be some questions regarding the revenue decrease in February. I have contacted both casinos, and their responses were pretty similar. Number one, that was the 3 major snowstorms in February. And number 2 was that were less days in February this year versus last year, 28 and 29 last year. So that's what was the response regarding the big jump in big decrease in February. the revenue. Other questions?
Thank you. Any other questions for Alex? Thanks for that background. I assume that was it. And maybe winter will end at some point this year, but I forgot about the leap year. Yeah. No, interesting. But March was pretty close to even, so I think we're doing okay. And of course, the facilities know if there's something that the board needs to know that's affecting patrons' abilities to play, let us know. Thank you, Alex. All right, moving on. Executive Director report from Milton Champion.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. We've been spending a lot of time, probably in the last 3 months, going from sitting on each other's laps to finally getting into our new area. We are still located in the same building at 45 Commerce Drive. Normally, the set of doors, as you're looking at the building, the set of doors that you would normally come in for prior board meetings, you would actually go to the west side. I hope it's the west side, but the far end to your left of the building. And we have a separate entrance now. All of our signage went up yesterday. Like I said, we've been moving in and working off of folding tables and all that sort of thing. We have furniture coming in this week. So, and then we're following up with some stuff like access control and everything. So we're pretty much in the new area. We will definitely be ready for the August board meeting. Not that we wouldn't be ready for the June meeting, but we will be up in Hollywood in June. So we'll definitely be ready for the board meeting. I did send and I didn't mean to confuse anybody. I'm glad Chair Silver clarified that. I sent out a picture yesterday of our new board meeting or new board meeting room. And so just to kind of give the board members an idea, that'll be a permanent space for us going forward. We will not be in a separate multi-conference room, and it's been laid out specifically for the board. So we're really proud of the area. We have some empty offices and some empty space that we're hopefully going to be able to fill with staff expeditiously when we're allowed to. So we're moving up. We're getting bigger. We're actually anticipating divisions at some point. Yeah, we're to not expound on the word expanding or expansion, but we are doing that ourselves. As far as the legislative session right now, we currently have 10 bills working through the legislative session. One is from fantasy. One is involving the Cascade. They're reevaluating the entire Cascade. There's 4 charitable gaming bills that are out there. 2 relevant to sports wagering. There is 1 iGaming bill, and there is a rulemaking bill, which I found to be somewhat comical. That rulemaking they would appeal the rules every 5 years, and you would have to renew your rules every 5 years. So I don't think that's going anywhere, but it was a chuckle to actually read that one, and I hope that doesn't offend anybody. But anyway, rulemaking is obviously a chore, and so if we had to reevaluate and process new rules every 5 years, that would be heck. I'd have to have another division, I guess. So anyway, that's where we are at the legislative from the legislative session for this year, and that's pretty much my report.
Okay. Any questions for Director Champion? All right, and so the other board members know, because I did it individually, not on behalf of the board, but I did submit written testimony in opposition to the iGaming bill, similar to as I did last year. It's effectively the same bill, a little tweaks to it, but again, does not include the casinos. My personal opinion, if we're gonna expand gambling, should include our longtime gambling partners, the casinos. So that's in committee. It's up to the legislature at this point. Right. Yeah. Okay, with that, we've got a whole lot of licenses to go over. 2 are initial for ADW, advanced deposit wagering. The legislature decided a year ago, 2 years ago, to open up the license process. So we've got two applicants before us today. Let me pull that up. Okay, so the first will be the application of ExpressBet LLC to be licensed as advanced deposit wagering operator. Is that correct, Mill?
Yes.
Yeah. For all of these today, this is not an adjudicatory proceeding. Instead, we'll be receiving an opinion from board staff, supported by evidence obtained during investigation. We'll also provide the applicant with an opportunity to be heard, and the public will also be invited to participate when it's time for comment. So, is there anyone on or here from ExpressBet?
This is Gene Shabrir.
Hi,
I'm
Gene.
sorry.
Thanks for being here.
Hi, I'm the Vice President of Regulatory Affairs and Business Development for ExpressBet.
Okay, and before we go any further, I'm sure one of our Assistant Attorney Generals has some questions for us.
I'll do this question. All right, does any member of the board have any reason such as personal bias or a conflict of interest that would prevent him or her from rendering an impartial decision in this matter? No? Right, or no's? Does any other person present at the hearing believe that there is any reason that would prevent any board member from rendering an impartial decision in this matter? And if so, please stand, state your name for the record, and state your objection and the basis for that objection. Okay. We'll move on to the third question. If there are objections to any pre-hearing proceedings, that is the procedure of this case up to this point, please stand, state your name for the record, and state the objection and the basis for that objection. Right, no objections.
All right, thank you. I should also say too, a lot of what the materials the board has is confidential, but if anyone wants the public portions, please contact Director Champion, and the Gambling Control Unit will be happy to get those to you. So does the applicant, Gene, you're here from them, have anything to present or say? You don't have to, but now would be the time.
Well, first off, I just would like to thank Mr. Champion and his staff. This was a long road. I've met with him, I think 2 years ago to hopefully, get this day to, get here. It's been a while that I've been working on getting ADW opened up in Maine. So I'm just looking forward to allowing Maine residents to operate or to wager through ExpressBet.
All right, thank you. And I should add too, I see you're from Washington, PA. I'm from south of Pittsburgh, so nice to see you.
Howdy, neighbor.
Yeah.
Oh, what part? What part of?
Yeah, I grew up in Mount Lebanon, so I've been down to the tracks in Washington.
Yeah.
So, all right, any board member have a question for the applicant? Okay, we'll now turn. Is this Detective Armstrong? No, who's handling it? You? All right, we'll turn to Director Champion.
Okay, ExpressBet LLC, Mr. Gene Chavero, VP of Regulatory Affairs and Business Development, submitted an application on behalf of ExpressBet LLC for an initial advanced deposit wagering operator license on November 12th, 2024. ExpressBet LLC disclosed in their application was evaluated by the criteria outlined in Title 8, Chapter 31 and 16, 633, Gambling Control Rules, Chapters 2 and 28. The extent to which, if any, the applicant would be subject to the control or influence of its activities by any person having a financial interest pertaining to the applicant, including a mortgage or other lien against property of the applicant, or in the opinion of the board, might otherwise influence its activities. In such a case, the director shall consider the character, honesty, and integrity of whoever has the ability to control or influence the activities of the applicant. The degree to which the applicant has demonstrated its ability to finance, the proposed advanced deposit wagering operations as well as the source of such financing. The degree to which the applicant has supplied accurate and complete information in its application, the extent to which the applicant has cooperated with the board and the department during required background investigations, whether the person or any of its officers, directors, partners, owners, key executives, or advanced deposit wagering employees are known to associate with persons of nefarious backgrounds or disruptible character. With respect to any past conduct which may adversely reflect upon the applicant, the nature of the conduct, the time that has passed since that conduct, the frequency of the conduct, and any extenuating circumstances that affect or reduce the impact of the conduct or otherwise reflect upon the applicant's fitness for the license. And any other information before the director, including substantially similar background investigations carried out by other agencies or jurisdictions that relate to the applicant's competency, financial capability, honesty, integrity, reputation, habits, or associations. Federal and state tax returns for 2021, 2022, and 2023 were submitted. These financial documents and and other documents as required were supplied to our financial review contractor, Whitfly. Whitfly reported that the company ExpressBet LLC appears to have sufficient financial assets to meet any financial obligation imposed by the board. Additionally, the key executives of ExpressBet LLC were found to have demonstrated financial responsibility as defined by regulations governing the board. ExpressBet LLC and its principals meet the qualifications of Title 8, Section 1016, numbers 1, 1A, and 2, and Section 1019. ExpressBet LLC also meets the requirements of Board Rules, Chapters 2 and 28. ExpressBet LLC shall be licensed as required under Title 8, Section 1073, which states that the board shall exercise authority over the licensing of all persons conducting advanced deposit wagering. A person may not conduct advanced deposit wagering without a license issued under this section. Therefore, after verification of the documents submitted and the interviews or inquiries by Detective Armstrong and the financial review by Whitfly, it is the opinion of the department that ExpressBet LLC is suitable to be licensed as an advanced deposit wagering operator in the state of Maine.
Thank you. Any board member have a question for Director Champion? All right. Any public comment? Start in the room first. How about on Zoom? Okay. All right. Is there a motion on the application of ExpressBet LLC for licensure as an ADW operator?
So moved.
All right.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion needed from the board? Okay. Let's take a vote. Chief March,
Aye.
Ms. Bickmore,
Aye.
Miss Boynton,
Main point.
Maine Boynton.
Aye.
All right, I'm an aye as well. So that is 4-0, having met all the requirements of licensing pursuant to Title 8, Chapter 31. Is that the right chapter? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. ExpressBet LLC will be licensed as an ADW operator in the state of Maine, and we thank them for their desire to do business in Maine.
Thank you very much.
All right. Moving along. This is also an initial application for licensure as an ADW operator. And this one, it will say Churchill Downs, but let me get the right full name.
Technology Initiatives.
Churchill Downs Technology Initiatives Company. I see there's someone here. You want to introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning, board, staff, executive director. My name is Andrew Silver. I'm senior counsel with Churchill Downs
And
Incorporated.
no relation to
Not as far as we know. I am a native New Englander, so perhaps we can share the family tree.
23 and me.
Yeah, I'm here on behalf and in support of Churchill Downs Technology Initiatives Company's advanced deposit wagering operator license application. CDTIC does business commonly known as Twin Spires. I did prepare some slides. I was going to share my screen. I'm happy to more quickly if you all would like me to.
Yeah, just pause for a second because we'll turn to our Assistant Attorney General who will have some questions for us.
Does any member of the board have any reason such as personal bias or a conflict of interest that would prevent him or her from rendering a partial decision in this matter? No? Okay, 4 no's. Does any other person present at the hearing believe that there is any reason that would prevent any board member from rendering an impartial decision in this matter? And if so, please stand, state your name for the record, and state your objection, the basis for that objection. Right, seeing no objections. If there are objections to any pre-hearing proceedings, that is the procedure of this case up to this point, please stand, state your name for the record, and state the objection. That objection. Right. Seeing objections.
Okay, we'll turn back to you.
Good, thank you. Good morning. Thank you all again for your time. I'll echo ExpressBet's comments. TwinSpires is very excited about the opportunity to offer ADW to Maine residents. We appreciate everyone's consideration of our application. We're especially excited for the opportunity to hopefully begin this offering ahead of next month's 151st Kentucky Derby. We obviously benefit from our relationship with the Kentucky Derby, which is operated by the parent CDI to help promote ADW in Maine and elsewhere during Triple Crown season. And right now, today, wagering is available on Maine racetracks to TwinSpires customers elsewhere in the U.S. We're excited for that to be hopefully available to Maine residents to wager both on Maine tracks and throughout the U.S. and the world. Here's a look at our desktop and mobile application. Our product team is really proud of what we offer. They're constantly trying to develop it further to stay best in class. Take content on over 210,000 races globally each year. This is just a sampling. And we have content available at all hours of the day. This is a sampling of the jurisdictions in which we take racing content, just to show that racing fans are able to come on TwinSpires and see things around the clock. ADW is also bringing in newer and younger racing fans. Horse racing is something where the fans have maybe skewed a little older than sports fans. I think thanks to ADW, maybe in tandem with the proliferation of online wagering on sports betting, we're able to attract ourselves to new race fans, younger race fans. We think it's excellent for the racing industry. And just to sum up, we're really hopeful to be able to offer TwinSpires to Maine residents. We think that it'll be hopefully great for the state of Maine to share in the funds collected and sent to the general fund and shared with the racing industry here in Maine. And we appreciate everyone's consideration of our application and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any board members have questions for the applicant? All right, hearing none. Oh, go
One
ahead.
question, Mr. Silver. How many states is Churchill Downs Technology Initiatives licensed presently in the United States?
We hold licenses. I believe the number is 20. I can go take a count and get that to the staff.
I'd be curious to know if that's
Yes,
don't mind. Thank
we
you.
hold licenses in approximately that number of states.
Other New England states included in those at present?
Yes, Massachusetts, and I should say licenses or permissions. And in Massachusetts, the permission comes through a racetrack partner there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, turn to Director Champion.
All righty. Churchill Downs Technology Initiatives Company, Mr. Andrew Silver, Corporate Counsel, submitted an application on behalf of Churchill Downs Technology Initiatives Company for an initial advanced deposit wagering operator license on November 12th, 2024. Churchill Downs Technology Initiatives Company disclosed, and their application was evaluated by the criteria outlined in Title 8, Chapter 31, and Rules Chapters 2 and 28. The extent to which, if any, the applicant would be subject to the control or influence of its activities by any person having a financial interest pertaining to the applicant, including a mortgage or other lien against property of the applicant, or who, in the opinion of the board, might otherwise influence its activities. In such a case, the director shall consider the character, honesty, and integrity of whoever has the ability to control or influence the activities of the applicant, the degree to which the applicant has demonstrated its ability to finance the proposed advanced deposit wagering operations, as well as the source of such financing, the degree to which the applicant has supplied accurate and complete information in its application, the extent to which the applicant has cooperated with the board and the department during required background investigations, whether the person or any of its officers, directors, partners, owners, key executives, or advanced deposit wager employees are known to associate with persons of nefarious backgrounds or disreputable character. With respect to any past conduct which may adversely reflect upon the applicant, the nature of the conduct, the time that has passed since the conduct, the frequency of the conduct, and any extenuating circumstances that affect or reduce the impact of the conduct or otherwise reflect upon the applicant's fitness for the license. And any other information before the director, including substantially similar background investigations carried out by other agencies or jurisdictions not related to the applicants, that are related to the applicant's competency, financial capability, honesty, integrity, reputation, habits, or associations. Federal and state tax returns for 21 and 22 and SEC filings for 2020, 2022, and 2023 were submitted. Those financial documents and other documents as required were supplied to our financial review contractor, Whitfly. Whitfly reported that the company Churchill Downs Technology Initiatives company appears to have sufficient financial assets to meet any financial obligations imposed by the board. Additionally, the key executives for Churchill Downs Technology Initiatives company were found to have demonstrated financial responsibility as defined by regulations governing the board. Churchill Downs Technology Initiatives company and its principals meet the qualifications of Title 8, Section 1016, numbers 1, 1A, and 2, and Section 1019. Churchill Downs Technology Initiatives company also meets the requirements of board rules, chapters 2 and 28. Churchill Downs Technology Initiatives company shall be licensed as required under Title 8, Section 1073, which states that the board shall exercise authority over the licensing of all persons conducting advanced deposit wagering. A person may not conduct advanced deposit wagering without a license issued under this section. Therefore, after verification of the documents submitted and interviews or inquiries by Detective Armstrong and the financial review by Whitfly, it's the opinion of the department that Churchill Downs Technology Initiatives company is suitable to be licensed as an advanced deposit wagering operator in the state of Maine.
Any questions for Director Champion? It's just a question, as there is history in Maine with Twin Spires. I guess what's your understanding of what happened then and why pursue a license now?
Appreciate the question. I guess my understanding was that there was a time in which Twin Spires was offline in May. Online in May. It was before my time doing the legal work directly for Twin Spires. So I'm taking some information from colleagues. I believe we were asked to stop, but there was a consent decree that our sister property Oxford then entered into. We've abided, Twin Spires has abided by that consent decree, and so you're seeking the opportunity to obtain a license in light of the fact that it's now available. Excited to comply with all the statutes and regulations here in Maine.
Yeah, and still, I guess, pursuing state licenses where available versus, I know there's an argument that's been made about, do states even have the ability to regulate this?
That's right. I think that our position is that where the statutes and regs are regs that are that ones that work for the industry or ones that we're able to comply with, we believe are fair, which is absolutely the case with the Maine statute of regulations. We want to be here as a licensed entity.
And currently, even before this, users in states where you were licensed, could they bet on main races through Twin Spires?
I believe the answer to that question is no. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah, are you asking about Maine residents or?
No, anyone. So if you're in a licensed state that you're in,
That's right. We've had content agreements to offer wagering on main racetracks, not only via Twin Spires, but via Churchill's brick and mortar properties. Dating to, I mean, for as long as those agreements have been available.
cool. All right. Any other questions for the applicant? All right. Is there a motion on the application of Churchill Downs Technology Initiatives for licensure as an advanced deposit wagering operator?
Move to approve, March.
All right, I will second it. Any discussion needed? Okay, take a vote. Chief March,
Aye.
Ms. Bickmore,
Aye.
Ms. Ain Boynton.
Aye.
All right, I'm an aye as well. So that is 4-0, having met all the requirements of licensing pursuant to Title 8, Chapter 31, Churchill Downs Technology Initiatives, right? Will be licensed as a advanced deposit wagering operator in the state of Maine. And yeah, we're excited that folks can wager on the Kentucky Derby. Hopefully, I know it's coming up. Hopefully there's enough lead time to get you up and running.
Thank you all very much. You kind of transitioned into a question that my colleagues in Kentucky would scream at me for asking. License take immediate effect. They're excited for the opportunity to vote to Maine residents.
We'll issue it this afternoon.
Wonderful. Thank you very
As
much.
soon as we get back to the office.
I'll have my eyes peeled. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving along, we've got also several initial licenses for small slot machine distributor licenses. So we'll take these in order. And the first one is Blueberry Gaming USA Inc. Again, for licensure as a small slot machine distributor. Is anyone here from Blueberry?
Yeah, hi. My name is Casey Whalen. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer. I'm in here via Zoom. I'll be in person in 2 weeks, but today via Zoom.
All right, thank you. Before we proceed, I'll turn it back to our Assistant Attorney General.
All right. Does any member of the board have any reasons such as personal bias or a conflict of interest that would prevent him or her from rendering an impartial decision in this matter? That 4 notes?
No.
Okay. Does any other person present at the hearing believe that there is any reason that would prevent any board member from rendering an impartial decision in this matter? And if so, please stand, state your name for the record, and state your objection and the basis for that objection. Right. Any objections? Final question. If there are objections to any pre-hearing proceedings, that is the procedure of this case up to this point, please stand, state your name for the record, and state the objection and the basis for that objection.
Okay.
Seeing any objections?
All right, we'll turn back to the applicant.
Thanks for having us. I think I sent along a couple slides there, but just wanted to fill you in here a little bit about the company and our background. The company's actually been around for 30 years with its roots actually in Drummondville, Canada and Quebec. So about halfway between Quebec City and Montreal. And for the first 20 years, as I kind of allude to here, it was really basically a software-based company. And then in 2019, some changes came along. The current CEO, Andrew Burke, had spent some time at AGS, joined Blueberry. I joined shortly thereafter. But essentially, we've kind of taken this small little 30-year-old startup, as we sort of say, tongue in cheek, and had some great success. If you look in the upper right-hand corner of the slide here, we kind of talk about how successful each of the games that we turn out are doing currently, and we're doing quite well versus the competition. Our sample size is a lot smaller, and we're currently only licensed in about half the jurisdictions in the United States. We do work in Class 3 traditional random number generator Gaming, also class 2, so the bingo based, and also historical horse racing. So we're in New Hampshire, kind of up there in the northeast portion of the country. So growing pretty quickly, trying to keep up. I think 24 months ago we had 100 employees. We're up to 250 now. Exciting time ahead, and you can see we deal with a lot of the big corporate customers, and specifically Churchill and Penn and surrounding jurisdictions throughout the country. On the next slide is a little bit of the background. Again, I alluded to Andrew. My name's Casey. I'm in the middle there. Billy Register kind of came from out of the industry, our CFO, but he has some private equity chops. We're owned by a private equity company out of Toronto. Our chief product officer, second from the bottom, Mike Brennan, worked at IGT. And then at the bottom, Steve Cohen was a coworker of mine at Konami. So we brought a lot of people with some industry experience to this smaller little company to try and turn it around. And we're pretty excited where we are, and excited even more so about where we're kind of going. On the next slide, tells you a little bit about some of the success we've had here. Last year, we grew the business significantly. You can see the 2025 estimated revenue, another 30% of growth. And we just got approved in Louisiana, both the commercial and tribal jurisdictions. Last month, we're in the process of going through the Nevada gaming regulation. We've applied to New Jersey. So again, trying to turn on as many of these new jurisdictions as possible, and excited the opportunity of the thought of being up there in Maine as well. And our install, I think the other, kind of noteworthy thing here is the 10,000 games we have throughout the country. We've kind of emerged out of one of these smaller suppliers, and we currently like to think we're kind of in the middle tier. We're not in the larger tier with Aristocrat, IGT, and Light & Wonder, but we're kind of competing in that second tier, and excited about where we're going. I think the last slide just talks a little bit about maybe some of the product, if we kind of click through to the next slide there, but just a little bit about the things we're excited about, the things we're kind of doing here today, and where we're going. So I don't know if there's any questions for me about, we build our games in Las Vegas. We still have some of our R&D talent in Montreal, and then we're kind of growing. We have studios currently in Austin and in Reno as well. So and we actually have them in Moncton, out there in New Brunswick. So even a time zone farther east than you folks, I guess. So any questions?
Yeah, we can't see the last slide. So what are some of the games or products you'd be offering in Maine?
Yeah, let's see. I was going to actually try and show on here. Well, we have basically kind of one cabinet that we offer today. It's a portrait style cabinet, so it's one single screen. We've migrated away from an older cabinet that was kind of, from a technological standpoint, it seems like whether it's phones or TVs, those things kind of accelerate at quite a rate. But we really have one cabinet. We call it one SKU, so we can kind of develop, whether it's our Reno studio, our Canadian folks up there, how we develop, we kind of build to one spec or one SKU along the way. So they're really just only one size. It's a 49-inch monitor today. It's a portrait style screen. Oh, there we go. You can kind of see it there. So on the bottom right-hand side, again, I can kind of walk you through any of the other questions you have here on the slide, but on the left of those three cabinets, the one that has Devil's Lock on it, that's the most popular theme. It's been the #1 game in the country throughout 22 and 23. And as we go into new jurisdictions, it's still super popular, but that cabinet is actually the B49 cabinet. It's a cabinet we still support today, but we're not actively selling it. In the middle picture there on the bottom right is kind of the 4-game configuration. There's a game called Honey Bomb right now that, if you look at the independent third party, the Eilers report that comes out every month, it's one of the top 15 games in the country right now, and it comes out in that 4-pack setup. And then over on the right-hand side is kind of our new cabinet. We call it the Beacon Plus, and that is the cabinet that we would be bringing to Maine.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for the time.
Any questions for the applicant? Okay. Detective Armstrong?
No,
Or
this is
you?
initial.
All right,
Yep.
go to you, Director Champion.
All righty. Blueberry Gaming USA Incorporated Licensing Compliance Manager, Christina Lavalette, I hope I said that correctly, applied for an initial small slot machine distributor license on November 4th, 2024. Blueberry Gaming USA Incorporated, for them, they disclosed, and their application was evaluated by whether the applicant satisfies the criteria under Title 8, Chapter 31, the extent to which, if any, the applicant will be subject to the control or influence of its activities by any person having a financial interest pertaining to the applicant, including a mortgage or other lien against property of the applicant, or who, in the opinion of the board, might otherwise influence its activities. In such a case, the director shall consider the character, honesty, and integrity of whoever has the ability to control or influence the activities of the applicant, the degree to which the applicant has demonstrated its ability to finance the proposed small slot machine distributor operations, as well as the source of such financing. The degree to which the applicant has supplied accurate and complete information pursuant to the requirements of this rule, the extent to which the applicant has cooperated with the board and the department in connection with the background investigation, whether the person or any of its officers, directors, partners, owners, key executives, or small slot machine distributor employees are known to associate with persons of nefarious backgrounds or disruptible character, with respect to any past conduct which may adversely reflect upon the applicant, the nature of the conduct, the time that has passed since the conduct, the frequency of the conduct, and any extenuating circumstances that affect or reduce the impact of the conduct or otherwise reflect upon the applicant's fitness for license. And any other information before the director, including substantially similar background investigations carried out by other agencies or jurisdictions that relate to the applicant's competency, financial capability, honesty, integrity, reputation, habits, or associations. Federal and state tax returns for 2021, 22, and 23 were submitted. Those financial documents and other documents as required were supplied to our financial review contractor, Whitfly. Whitfly reported that the company Blueberry Gaming USA, Inc. appears to have sufficient financial assets to meet any financial obligations imposed by the board. Additionally, the key executives for Blueberry Gaming USA, Inc. were found to have demonstrated financial responsibility as defined by regulations governing the board. Blueberry Gaming USA, Inc. and its principals meet the qualifications of Title 8, Section 1016, numbers 1, 1A, and 2, and Section 1019. Blueberry Gaming USA, Inc. also meets the requirements of Board Rule Chapter 2, Section 3. Blueberry Gaming USA, Inc. shall be licensed as required under Title 8, Section 1013, Sub 2, which states that the board may issue a license to distribute slot machines to an applicant that meets the qualifications set out in Sections 1016 and 1019. Therefore, after verification of the documents submitted and the interviews or inquiries by Detective Armstrong and the financial review by Whitfly, it's the opinion of the department that Blueberry Gaming USA, Inc. is suitable to be licensed as a small slot machine distributor in the state of Maine.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Director Champion? All right, is there a motion on the application of Blueberry Gaming USA, Inc. for licensure as a small slot machine distributor?
Move to approve.
All right, I'll second it. Any deliberation needed, questions? All right, Chief March,
Aye.
Ms. Bickmore,
Aye.
Ms. Main Boynton.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Results are 4-0. Having met all the requirements of licensing pursuant to Title 8, Chapter 31, Blueberry Gaming USA, Inc. will be licensed as a small slot machine distributor. And we thank you for your desire to do business in Maine, and I should say the USA, I suppose, since you're a Canadian company. So thanks for being here too.
Yeah, hey, one quick question if I could. With the small slot machine manufacturer license, just a point of clarification, we wanted to make sure is it annually, we can't sell more than 49 games per facility, or is it we can't have more of that total in perpetuity, I guess was my question. Is there any, wasn't quite clear.
Yeah, there was some confusion when they finalized the bill, and
Okay.
I was actually in the room, and initially it started out being 25 machines. per facility. And I talked to the VLA committee and they upped it to 50 per facility, but that is total, not annually. It's 50 machines in each facility and that's it. So in other words, you can't do 50 this year, 50 next year, 50 the following year. And it's really very simple. If you do the math, we would have at least 5 or 6 lawsuits against the state because over a 4-year period, adding 50 machines each year, you would accumulate some of the total numbers of the larger distributors who have paid 200,000 plus 80,000 a year. So the math just doesn't work. And so that's the position that the department's going to take. And of course, that's my recommendation to the board if there's any discussion on it. So it is 50 and that's it. Basically,
Not to exceed.
not
Thank
to
you.
exceed. Yes.
Okay, all right. Moving right along. All right, next is the application of AnyVision US Inc. For their initial small slot machine distributor license. Is there anyone here from the applicant? Yep.
Good morning, Patrick Welsh down in the Philadelphia area. I am the general manager for the Americas for AnyVision, doing business as Usto Incorporated.
All right, thanks for being here. Turning back to our Assistant Attorney Generals.
All right. Does any member of the board have any reason such as personal bias or a conflict of interest that would prevent him or her from rendering an impartial decision in this matter? No, 4 no's. Okay, thank you. Does any other person present at the hearing believe that there is any reason that would prevent any board member from rendering an impartial decision in this matter? If so, please stand, state your name for the record, and state your objection and the basis for that objection. No objections, all 9 are in person. Okay. If there are any objections to any pre-hearing proceedings, that is the procedure of this case up to this point, please stand, state your name for the record, and state the objection and the basis for that objection. All right.
All right,
No objections.
all right, we'll turn back to you, Mr. Welsh.
So we have a couple slides. We'll only need 3, actually 2. We are a software company that has been operating in casinos globally for most of the past 10 years. We are in Maryland. We were recently extended a 5-year extension on our ability to operate in their casinos. We're in Nevada. We are currently deployed in 75% of the Vegas Strip. We are in Oklahoma, Virginia, California, Louisiana. It's in Louisiana that we ran into Penn Entertainment. Our desire is to operate our software in one of their casinos as a test, a pilot in Maine. Our technology identifies people in crowds. It does it very accurately. So for the past 8 years, the first one we did was with MGM. We are now deployed in almost all of their properties and win globally. What we do is help them with self-excluders primarily. So in many states, they've got 20,000 or more people. An individual can identify 20, no more than 60 people accurately. They're trying to protect these self-excluders. In many of the states, what they'll do is they'll identify the self-excluder and then they'll verify that they've not left kids in the car. They've not left kids abandoned in a hotel room. So it's not just the self-excluders that they're trying to protect, it's their families as well. What we do that makes us unique in that large crowd is the ability to very accurately and very quickly identify people. There's always a human in that loop. So we will give information typically to a surveillance room. They will radio to security after they've human verified twice the information that we've given them. And it has helped them keep self-excluders out of the gaming floor. For instance, some of the casinos in Vegas will see 1 million people per month through their doors. Prior to this technology, they were catching a couple of people. Now they're catching hundreds of self-excluders. So they are doing a very good job of responsible gaming by using this technology to accurately identify self-excluders. There are instances where they also have to adhere to other regulations, which would be keeping someone who is a felon that is not allowed to be an employee. So if the HR process breaks down, we can double check people that would be on a blacklist from the gaming regulators in that state to make sure that they do not get through an HR process and accidentally get hired into those organizations. And there have been cases where our second factor authentication has verified that this person is not allowed to be an employee. So there's other things that we do. There are a number of casinos that use this to detect people in collaboration with Homeland Security. So they do a lot in the anti-money laundering. They do a lot in the human trafficking space to separate people, to make sure that people in that environment are basically given the ability to have their life back. They've stopped mass shootings at some of these casino properties, things that never make it to the news because they were able to prevent that, using this technology. So we've been operating, as I mentioned, for 8 of the last 10 years in many of these states. We would like to do a pilot with Penn, and we would like to operate in that environment within your state. Any
All right.
questions?
Yeah, and I should clarify, your application is for a gambling services vendor. The agenda says small slot machine distributor, and that's
Yeah.
not accurate. But any questions for Mr. Welsh? Mr. Law Enforcement?
I have some questions, Mr. Welsh.
Yes.
Noel March. I presume this is a contributory database where your clients will load in those names and so forth. This is how you identify who you're looking for. Is this interoperable with someone who is a known person of interest in Maryland? If they walk into a Penn facility or another facility, will that also hit as a person of interest in another state?
So great question. The regulatory body would decide whether or not they could do that. In certain states, it has to be a separate database that starts empty at each property. They're not allowed to share across state lines. There are exceptions in different states, but the way the system ships, it's empty. There's no data in the system, and each property has to individually add to their watch list.
Secondly, Maine statute for our state has some restrictions on facial recognition technology for use by law enforcement. Have you vetted the suitability of your technology against Maine statute yet?
Yes, similar to Maryland, who also has a similar statute. This runs in the surveillance room, right? So this is typically not given to law enforcement. There is no collaboration with law enforcement. If someone is trespassed or, self-excluder or some violent person shows back up, that will typically get radioed from surveillance to the security team, who has a standard protocol in how they operate with local law enforcement. And again, there's always humans in the mix. So we will not sell our software unless there's a protocol in place at that property, which will have 2 humans verify the information that's given to surveillance before it ever gets to security.
So if I understand you correctly, this is my last question. The surveillance room is notified through the software that a person of interest has been presumably identified. It requires further confirmation. You don't maintain a central monitoring station that receives the hit and then you notify your client. This is all in-house, is that correct?
That's correct. We do not maintain any type of data on behalf of any customer.
Here's one more question. Can or does your client maintain data on these customers, certainly on the watch list? I'm just curious about the archiving of the images and the information.
Yeah, so each customer will adhere to the regulations in their state. Many of them will have a 30-day retention, and that's it. In the instance where they'll have an individual on a watch list, that would be governed by the expiration date by the regulatory body. So in the case of self-excluders, as an example, your 1 year, 3 year, 5 year lifetime, that will dictate how long they retain that individual on a watch list. But the actual detections are typically 7 days. Some states allow up to 30 days, and we ensure that they are in compliance with their local law.
Thank you. Is Penn here? This is new technology for Maine, is it not?
Yeah.
Is this a beta test or a proof of concept or long-term agreement you're seeking to partner with?
This is more, Melissa, maybe we can, it's a beta test, right?
Yeah, I believe this was something.
Yeah, this is, it's more of a beta test that we're doing. I think that's all the information we provide right at this point in time.
Big change.
Any other questions from the board? Okay. All right, thank you. Turn to Director Champion.
All righty, excuse me. AnyVision US Incorporated Enterprises Sales Manager Drew Schwiller applied for an initial guest or gambling service vendor license on August 20th, 2024. AnyVision US Incorporated, they disclosed in their application were evaluated by whether the applicant satisfies the criteria under Title 8, Chapter 31, the extent to which, if any, the applicant would be subject to the control or influence of its activities by any person having a financial interest pertaining to the applicant, including a mortgage or other lien against property of the applicant, or who, in the opinion of the board, might otherwise influence its activities. In such a case, the director shall consider the character, honesty, integrity of whoever has the ability to control or influence the activities of the applicant. The degree to which the applicant has demonstrated its ability to finance the proposed guest service vendor operations, as well as the source of such financing. The degree to which the applicant has supplied accurate and complete information pursuant to the requirements of this rule, the extent to which the applicant has cooperated with the board and department in connection with the background investigation, whether the person or any of its officers, directors, partners, owners, key executives, or guest service vendor employees are known to associate with persons of the various backgrounds or disruptible character. With respect to any past conduct which may adversely reflect upon the applicant, the nature of the conduct, the time that has passed since the conduct, frequency of the conduct, and any extenuating circumstances that affect or reduce the impact of the conduct, otherwise reflect upon the applicant's fitness for license. And any other information before the director, including substantially similar background investigations carried out by other agencies or jurisdictions that relate to the applicant's competency, financial capability, honesty, integrity, reputation, habits, or associations. Federal and state tax returns for 2022 and 2023 were submitted. Those financial documents and other documents as required were supplied to our financial review contractor, Whitfly. Whitfly reported that the company AnyVision US Incorporated appears to have sufficient financial assets to meet any financial obligations imposed by the board. Additionally, the key executives for AnyVision US Incorporated were found to have demonstrated financial responsibility as defined by regulations governing the board. AnyVision and its principals meet the qualifications of Title 8, Section 1016, numbers 1, 1A, and 2, and Section 19. AnyVision Inc. also meets the requirements of Board Rule Chapter 2, Section 3. AnyVision US Inc. shall be licensed as required under Title 8, Section 1013, which states the board may issue a license to a gambling service vendor to an applicant that meets the qualifications set out in Sections 1016 and 1019. Therefore, after verification of the documents submitted and interviews and inquiries by Detective Armstrong and the financial review by Whitfly, it's the opinion of the department that AnyVision US Incorporated is suitable to be licensed as a gambling service vendor in the state of Maine.
All right, any questions for Director Champion? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the application of AnyVision US Inc. For initial licensure as a gambling service vendor.
I'll move to approve. Second.
Okay, any discussion needed? Okay. Let's take a vote. Chief March,
Aye.
Ms. Bickmore,
Aye.
Ms. Main Boynton.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. That is 4-0, having met all the requirements of licensing pursuant to Title 8, Chapter 31. AnyVision US Inc. will be licensed as a gambling services vendor in the state of Maine. And thank you for your desire to do business in Maine.
Thank you, and we look forward to sharing the results of this pilot with you.
Yeah. So whenever this gets up and running, we'd certainly be interested to know how it's working out.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, next up is an initial license application. This one is a small slot machine distributor. Is it Every? Every Games Inc. Anyone here from Every?
Hi, Jesse DeBruin. I'm a senior vice president and gaming leader for Every, based in Austin, Texas.
All right, welcome. Before we proceed, turn it back to our Assistant Attorney General.
All right. Does any member of the board have any reasons such as personal bias or a conflict of interest that would prevent him or her from rendering an impartial decision in this matter? Okay, 4 no's. Does any other person present at the hearing believe that there is any reason that would prevent any board member from rendering an impartial decision in this matter? And if so, please stand, state your name for the record, and state your objection and the basis for the objection. All right, seeing any objections. If there are objections to any pre-hearing proceedings, that is the procedure of this case up to this point, please stand, state your name for the record, and state the objection and the basis for that objection.
Okay.
Any objections? So go ahead.
All right, we'll turn back to you, Mr. DeBruin.
Thank you all, and thank you for the opportunity. I do have a few slides if I could share. Can everyone see that all right?
Yep.
Okay. Just kind of give you an overview of Every Games. Every's a company that has 2 business units, our fintech and EGMs or slot side. We are currently licensed. Every is in the state of Maine with our fintech division. So this is obviously for the electronic gaming machines. Every has been around since 1995. We are currently licensed in over 1,000 casino customers, including tribal and corporate licenses. We have a lease install base of over 15,000 units and quite a robust service network throughout North America. We have game design studios that are based out of Chicago, Reno, and Austin, and also a smaller studio in Sydney, Australia. By third-party industry metrics, we're somewhere between the number 4 and number 6 slot supplier in the industry, depending on the current quarter. A little bit about our product offering. We offer both video product offerings and mechanical high denom offerings. So we have our Dynasty line of products that include our Soul, which is a portrait cabinet offering. This is our primary cabinet. This is what we would intend to bring to Maine. Our Dynasty View is similar. It's a profile. It's a single screen cabinet, lower profile, and then we have some premium options as well. And on the mechanical side, similar story. Our primary cabinet is our Player Classic Signature there on the left. That has the majority of our game development content is to feed that. That's our largest footprint. We also have some premium offerings to the right of that. One other product that we offer that is the best in class in the industry is what we call Tournament. It essentially is an opportunity for operators to take their in-revenue gaming play and offer a tournament experience to their players. We offer this in two primary ways. One is Tournament Classic, which is roping off an entire bank and bringing in people and running them through sessions to allow them to play against each other. Their scores are then tallied, and at the end of the event, the winners are determined by the casino operator, and the prize is allocated accordingly. And then Tournament Now is a more flexible sit and go style tournament where through a player's card, a player can insert their card. If they're eligible for a tournament, they can quickly play in a 1 or 2 minute tournament and then get back to the gameplay in its normal revenue state. And we offer just a variety of different kind of game experiences in order so that operators can cater to their players and give them a unique, fun experience. Finally, last slide, we do have a YouTube channel that we offer to operators. It's a player-facing channel to kind of help show players some features of the games, get them excited about it, and get them a little bit educated on the game before they come and play. So with that, I'll thank you for the opportunity, and I will answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Any board members have questions for the applicant? Okay. All right, we'll turn to Director Champion.
Every Games Inc., Director of Regulatory Compliance, Marissa Wheeler applied for an initial small slot machine distributor license on November 18th, 2024. Every Games Inc. disclosed in their application was evaluated by whether the applicant satisfies the criteria outlined in Title 8, Chapter 31, the extent to which, if any, the applicant will be subject to the control or influence of its activities by any person having a financial interest pertaining to the applicant, including a mortgage or other lien against property of the applicant, or whom the opinion of the board might otherwise influence its activities. In such a case, the director shall consider the character, honesty, and integrity of whoever has the ability to control or influence the activities of the applicant, the degree to which the applicant has demonstrated its ability to finance the proposed small slot machine distributor operations, as well as the source of such financing, degree to which the applicant has supplied accurate and complete information pursuant to the requirements of this rule, the extent to which the applicant has cooperated with the board and department in connection with the background investigation, whether the person or any of its officers, directors, partners, owners, key executives, or small slot machine distributor employees are known to associate with persons of nefarious backgrounds or disruptible character. With respect to any past conduct which may adversely reflect upon the applicant, the nature of the conduct, the time that has passed since the conduct, the frequency of the conduct, and any extenuating circumstances that affect or reduce the impact of the conduct or otherwise reflect upon the applicant's fitness for license. And any other information before the director, including substantially similar background investigations carried out by other agencies or jurisdictions that relate to the applicant's competency, financial capability, honesty, integrity, reputation, habits, or associations. Federal and state tax returns for 2021, 22, and 23 were submitted. Those financial documents and other documents as required were supplied to our financial review contractor, Whitfly. Whitfly reported that the company, Every Games Inc., appears to have sufficient financial assets to meet any financial obligations imposed by the board. Additionally, the key executives for Every Games Inc. were found to have demonstrated financial responsibility as defined by regulations governing the board. Every Games Inc. and its principals meet the qualifications of Title 8, Section 1016, numbers 1, 1A, and 2, and Section 1019. Every Games Inc. also meets the requirements of Board Rule Chapter 2, Section 3. Every Games Inc. shall be licensed as required under Title 8, Section 1013-2, which states the board may issue a license to distribute slot machines to an applicant that meets the qualifications set out in Sections 1016 and 1019. Therefore, after verification of the documents submitted, and the interviews and inquiries by Detective Armstrong and the financial review by Whitfly, it's the opinion of the department that Every Games Inc. is suitable to be licensed as a small slot machine distributor in the state of Maine.
All right, any questions for Director Champion?
I do have one question. This is my first meeting, so I don't have a lot to compare this to. But when I looked at the list of adverse actions, there seems to be a lot of stuff there. Is that typical? Is that something that you would see often with a company of this size doing this much business, or is this something excessive?
Yeah, adverse actions are typical in the industry. And they can be from anything from a casino level of employee not wearing an ID badge to a delivery of software being made without being sealed, that sort of thing. So it's very common. We would just look for the bigger actions, and typically they would be the ones more in line with litigation. So
So there's nothing in there that causes you concern?
In this case.
no,
Okay,
no.
thank you.
All right, any other questions? Okay, is there a motion on the application of Every Games Inc. For licensure as a small slot machine distributor?
Move to approve, March.
All right,
I can second.
okay. Any deliberation, comments needed? Okay, let's take a vote. Chief March,
Aye.
Ms. Bickmore,
Aye.
Ms. Main Boynton.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. So the results are 4-0, having met all the requirements of licensing pursuant to Title 8, Chapter 31. Every Games Inc. will be licensed as a small slot machine distributor in the state of Maine. And we thank you for your continued desire to do business in Maine.
Thank you for the opportunity, and we look forward to bringing our products to Maine.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll now turn, we've got a couple renewals. The first is the application of Konami Gaming Inc. To renew their slot machine distributor license. Anyone here from Konami? I think so, okay. Turn it back to our assistant AGs.
Does any member of the board have any reason, such as personal bias or a conflict of interest, that would prevent him or her from rendering an impartial decision in this matter? Nope. Okay, 4 no's. Does any other person present at the hearing believe that there is any reason that would prevent any board member from rendering an impartial decision in this matter? And if so, please stand, state your name for the record, and state your objection and basis for that objection. All right, not seeing any objections. If there are any objections to any pre-hearing proceedings, that is the procedure of this case up to this point, please stand, state your name for the record, and state the objection and the basis for that objection. Okay, not seeing any objections.
Okay. And also, for your knowledge, on the initials we get, renewals, we only get if there's a yes on one of these. So in this case, there were a couple adverse actions, one of which was actually withdrawn, but that's why it got kicked to us. Otherwise, we've delegated it to Director Champion. So we don't see all renewals that come before us. But with that said, is you Director Champion or
Detective
Detective Armstrong?
Armstrong.
All right, Detective Armstrong, you've been waiting all morning.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Pursuant to Title 8, Section 1005, subsection 2 of the Maine Revised Statutes, the Department of Public Safety is responsible for investigating the qualifications of each applicant before a license or registration is issued and reporting to the board the results of any such investigation. Konami Gaming Inc., Mr. Thomas Gingoli, applied for renewal of the company's slot machine distributor's license on March 11th, 2025. The company disclosed, and it was verified, that since the company's last application for a board's license, there have been no changes to the company's address. There have been no changes to the key executive of the company or any parent or intermediate affiliates of the company. There have been no changes to the ownership structure of the company or any parent or intermediate affiliates of the company. There have been adverse actions taken against the company or any parent or intermediary affiliates of the company by any other regulatory agencies, and there are charges pending against the company or any parent or intermediate affiliates of the company in any state or federal court. The company submitted its federal and state tax returns for the preceding year 2023 and copies of externally prepared financial statements for the current year 2024. Those financial documents and other documents as required were supplied to our financial review contractor, Whitfly. Whitfly reported that the company Konami Gaming Inc. appears to have sufficient financial assets to meet any financial obligations imposed by the board. Additionally, the key executives for Konami Gaming Inc. were found to have demonstrated financial responsibility as defined in the rules governing the board. The department has investigated the qualifications of Konami Gaming Inc. and has determined that it meets the board's requirements for renewal of its slot machine distributor's license. Specifically, Konami Gaming Inc. and its principals continue to meet the qualifications for a license set out in Title 8, Sections 1016 and 1019, and meet the requirements of Board Rules, Chapter 2, Section 3. Therefore, after my verification of the documents submitted, interviews or inquiries, the financial review by Whitfly, and the final review by Director Champion, it is the opinion of the department that Konami Gaming Inc. is suitable to be continually licensed as a slot machine distributor in the state of Maine.
All right, any questions for Detective Armstrong? Okay. Is there a motion on the application of Konami Gaming Inc. for renewal licensure as a slot machine distributor?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
all right, let's take, any deliberations needed? Okay, let's take a vote. Chief March.
Aye.
Ms. Bickmore.
Aye.
Ms. Mayne Boynton.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. That is 4-0, having met all the requirements of licensing pursuant to Title 8, Chapter 31, Konami Gaming Inc. Will have their slot machine distributor license renewed. And with that, we will turn to the application of our host today. This is for renewal of BB Development LLC's casino operator license. Matt, I don't know if you have anything to say.
What have you?
Okay. Turn back to our assistant AGs.
Does any member of the board have any reasons such as personal bias or a conflict of interest that would prevent him or her from rendering an impartial decision in this matter? Nope. Okay, 4 no's. Does any other person present at the hearing believe that there is any reason that would prevent any board member from rendering an impartial decision in this matter? If so, please stand, state your name for the record, and state your objection and the basis for the objection. Not seeing any objections. Okay. Last question. If there are any objections to any pre-hearing proceedings, that is the procedure of this case up to this point, please stand, state your name for the record, and state the objection and the basis for that objection. All right, no objections, you can go ahead.
All right. Any questions for Matt? No? Anything you need to tell us?
Love doing business with me.
Okay. All right. Is this Detective Armstrong?
Yes.
All right. Detective Armstrong, you're up.
Pursuant to Title 8, Section 1005, Subsection 2 of the Maine Revised Statutes, the Department of Public Safety is responsible for investigating the qualifications of each applicant before a license or registration is issued and reporting to the board the results of any such investigation. BB Development LLC, Matt Gallagher, General Manager, applied for renewal of the company's casino operator's license on February 25th, 2024. Company disclosed and it was verified that since the company's last application for a board license, there have been no changes to the company's address. There have been no changes to the key executive of the company or any parent or intermediate affiliates of the company. There have been no changes to the ownership structure of the company or any parent or intermediate affiliates of the company. There have been adverse actions taken against the company or any parent or intermediary affiliates of the company by any other regulatory agencies, and there are no charges pending against the company or any parent or intermediate affiliates of the company in any state or federal court. The company submitted its federal and state tax returns for the preceding year 2023 and copies of externally prepared financial statements for the current year 2024 as of the close of the most recent fiscal quarter prior to the application. Those financial documents and other documents as required were supplied to our financial review contractor, Whipfly. Whipfly reported that the company BB Development LLC appears to have sufficient financial assets to meet any financial obligations imposed by the board. Additionally, the key executives for BB Development LLC were found to have demonstrated financial responsibility as defined by the rules governing the board. The department has investigated the qualifications of BB Development LLC and has determined that it meets the board's requirements for renewal of a casino operator's license. Specifically, BB Development LLC and its principals continue to meet the qualifications for a license set out in Title 8, Sections 1016 and 1019, and meets the requirements of Board Rules, Chapter 2, Section 2. Therefore, after my verification of the documents submitted, interviews or inquiries, the financial review by Whipfly and the final review by Director Champion, it is the opinion of the department that BB Development LLC is suitable to be continually licensed as a casino operator in the state of Maine.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Detective Armstrong? Okay. All right, I will entertain a motion on the application of BB Development LLC doing business as Oxford Casino Hotel and Event Center for renewal licensure as a casino operator.
Move to approve the renewal.
I'll
March.
second.
All right, thank you. Any discussion needed? Okay, let's take a vote. Chief March,
Aye.
Ms. Bickmore,
Aye.
Ms. Mayne Boynton.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. So it's 4-0, having met all the requirements licensing pursuant to Title 8, Chapter 31. BB Development LLC will continue to be licensed as a casino operator in the state of Maine. All right. So with that, we've got also sort of a heavy back half. So I propose taking a 5-minute break, get some drinks, whatever, come back.
So
Sounds
moved.
good.
All right, you can stop recording.
All right.
All right, so
The digital age, that's right. George Orwell was right. All right.
Okay.
I'll be back on, Mallory. Okay.
Live.
All right, so moving to our unfinished business. We have a request for removal from the self-exclusion list from patron A. Was this the one last time that we needed more information for, or is this different?
No, this is a different one.
Okay.
The one from last time hasn't yet responded to our request for additional information.
Okay, so we do have a letter from the individual, and then you can see that they completed their meeting with Lori Manson. Yeah, so explanation makes sense to me. Are they here? Are they on Zoom? All right, I wouldn't think so. Okay, any questions about this? All right. All right, we'll ask for a motion to approve self-exclusion A's request to be removed from the self-exclusion list.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay. All right, we'll take a vote. This is again to approve their request. So Chief March,
Aye.
Ms. Bickmore,
Aye.
Ms. Mayne Boynton.
Aye.
And I as well. Self-exclusion A will come off of the exclusion list. All right, next up, follow-up about Penn's promotional kiosks.
Good morning, Chair Silver and Director Champion of the Board, Mark Costello, General Manager.
Can you use the thing so they can see you?
Absolutely. So again, good morning, Chair Silver, Director Champion, and members of the Board. I'm Mark Costello, General Manager of Hollywood Casino Bangor. And for today's presentation, I'm going to turn it over to Brian Wodolewski. He's going to be doing a brief presentation on the technology, and Brian is part of our corporate. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the opportunity to speak this morning.
We pull a slide up.
I can see it,
You
but
can see it? Okay.
yeah.
So again, thanks for the opportunity to speak today. Currently today, we run MGT software to execute our promotions on property. And today, customers can actually engage in those marketing promotions via the kiosks that are sitting at Bangor today. Unfortunately, that software is going end of life and will not be supported after by the end of 2026. So we've elected to go out and create our own promotion engine software. And our objective is really to create a promotion engine that a customer can engage with both at a kiosk on property, but also through their mobile app. So through our loyalty mobile app. From a promotion standpoint, really, we're going to run the same promotions that they run today through MGT. 4 types of promotions. One would be an earn and get. And that's really where customers execute certain type of activity, like earn 10 tier points, and then they would get a gift. They get a toaster, they get tier points, or they get some sort of reward. Second one would be a multiplier, where again, a customer would execute some sort of activity as if go ahead and play a slot machine during between 5 and 7 on a Tuesday. And during that period there, they would earn multiplied tier points or multiplied temp cash or loyalty cash. The third one would be a gift giveaway, where basically we can invite guests to participate and come in and accept their gift and then come and get their toaster. And then the last one's just a drawing, right? Where a customer can come in and do some sort of activity and earn entries into a drawing where we would go ahead then and pull the winner out of there and they would win. So our objective is to build our own software that would do that. And again, allow a customer to do it via the mobile app or the kiosk on property. A couple differences though. The MGT kiosks today and most kiosk softwares that are out there, they actually talk to the gaming system, right? So in order to monitor activity, to understand how someone's playing, right? So we can go ahead and qualify them for the promotion or to issue a reward. Software today talks directly to the gaming system. So we had really 4 key principles for ours. So number 1 is our solution, we do not want to engage at all with the gaming system. So there are no integrations with the gaming system whatsoever with what we're proposing. You'll ask, well, then how do you qualify a guest, right? How do you know how many tier points they've earned and how are they playing? And how are you issuing rewards? So what our objective is to use our existing software that's in use today that we use for our loyalty program, where they earn tier points today and they earn their pen cash today. There's a data stream today that goes through that we can see what the activity is and then allow them to earn their loyalty points. We want to leverage that same data stream. So no need to actually talk to the gaming system at all. We'll just basically use that same stream that's in place today. The other piece is from a reward standpoint. Today, rewards go directly into the slot machine for, say, free slot play, or to the gaming system. What we're going to do is we're just going to leverage our marketing platform today. So today, when customers actually do run campaigns, when we run campaigns, we send out offers. That goes into an offer management system. That's how we'll issue rewards going forward there. So again, no interactions with the gaming system whatsoever. And then the last piece is the kiosk that we would deploy on the floor. They would be 0 footprint kiosks. So basically they'll be dumb terminals. It'll be a small generic computer with a touch screen. And again, the software that's on there, it'll be using a web browser, right? So it'll hit the software behind the scenes via web browser. So those kiosks themselves will have no software on there that could go out of date or kind of to be challenged.
Okay. What's your timeline on this, you know?
I think, what do you think, Brad? Just as soon as we can.
Yep. So we're looking to work with the software is being built now. So we're going to start to roll this out across all 37 properties where regulatorily approved beginning in July. And then our intent would be to have it rolled out across all of our properties, again, where approved by end of first quarter 2026. So next spring.
Okay.
This software is passive such that the customer, the client or patron would have to opt in, or is it required in order to play?
It's passive. So they would actually have to go into it and they would have to opt into these promotions there.
Do you capture other consumer data in the process, demographics? I mean, clearly you can do location and time of day and so forth, but you capturing other profile information around your patrons through this software?
So we're basically leveraging our loyalty database. So whatever we capture when they would create an account with us, a loyalty account, but then we will be looking at, again, ratings data that's coming out from McPlay. Now we will be looking at, and it wouldn't apply here, right? But a customer could potentially sign up for our digital wallet, right? And we can go ahead and run a promotion on that. Again, that wouldn't apply here, but if they check into the hotel, right, we can use that data stream and say, oh, they checked into the hotel. That could be one of the steps in a promotion there to qualify.
I guess my last question is, does it drill down far enough to capture gender, race, income level, some of the other indicators of the patron, just sort of creating
It would be whatever's in our loyalty database today.
does loyalty database capture those? Indicators.
Race, I do not believe so.
Yeah, name, age, address.
Right.
I don't think it's, not race.
Yeah.
Gender can probably be figured out in these cases.
Yeah, I'm just curious how it layers down into getting an assessment, getting your arms around who your patrons are and how they engage and how they participate. Yeah.
Now we do, what would fall into it is, again, we do a lot of segmentation. So we look at the guests and say, all right, well, let's look for guests that have a certain level of frequency, right? They come once a month, they come multiple times a month. We'll look at that kind of information to qualify them, but typically not the other.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, any other questions?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yeah.
What other states are you approved in right now?
So we're going through this process in a lot of others. Can help me with this.
I should have brought the list, but Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Indiana, I think the two southern states, Mississippi and Louisiana. Nevada were approved in. And a lot of jurisdictions just said it's a marking system. They don't formally approve it. They just had no objections. And it is just a marking system. It's really it's the same thing we're doing today. It's just we're going to use Penn software instead of some third-party stuff. And there's a couple others that are still looking at it, but we've got over half of our properties that have approved it or said they don't have to approve.
Do we need to? Do we need to vote on it?
I don't know.
Just an update.
Phil, what do you think?
You're not granting a license. You don't really necessarily
No.
have to vote on it. If you want.
Thank you.
Yeah.
for the information.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any issues. I don't think it's something we need to vote on.
We don't.
So thanks for the update.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Moving along, we hit this consent agreement, GCB 2024-82, which came before the board last meeting, I think, or 2 meetings ago.
December.
Yeah, 2 meetings ago. We sent it back for some additional work, and it's come back before us. So I don't know if you have anything else to add about it.
The only change substantively is the addition of a fine, which the board expressed interest in seeing in the consent agreement. So prior to the addition of that fine, it was the imposition of a warning. So that remains, but also as well.
Yeah, okay. So
Is council satisfied?
you can ask.
Council, are you satisfied with the additions as appropriate and
I'm very happy with the agreement.
Good. thank you?
Yeah, I mean,
Just wanted
it's
to.
what we wanted. And up to the parties to negotiate the amount. So I'm fine with it. Any other questions or concerns? Okay. Do we need a motion to approve the?
Yep, you need to approve this.
Okay.
Once it's approved, then the parties will all sign, including.
All right, so looking for a motion to approve this consent agreement, GCB 2024-82.
Go ahead.
I'll move to approve the.
I'll second it.
Okay, let's take a vote. Chief March.
Aye.
Ms. Bickmore.
Aye.
Miss Maine Boynton.
Aye.
And I as well. So,
And I would also have a vote on delegating the authority to you to sign on behalf of the board. We don't typically do that vote, but it's just good to do.
that I can sign.
That you could assign on behalf of the entire.
I've signed a bunch of these in the
I
past.
know, I think it's fine. It's just, it would be good to get that into part of the script for these types of votes.
Okay, any Any objection to me signing that with the board? Okay,
No.
so let's vote to
Continue
approve.
with the-
Chief March,
Aye.
Ms. Bickmore,
Aye.
Ms. Main Boynton.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, we'll get that signed and out and done with. All right. So turning to the first of our two rule packages. This is involves chapter 19, which is the certification for what do you call it? The independent lab that we as a board decided we should have, and we got a couple comments. And you can see in here in the basis statement, GLI submitted a number of comments. And what we discussed last time we saw this with some unit guidance. So my understanding is if we accept what's in the basis statement, that the modified rules will actually be published again for a period for written comment only before final approval. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And so if you look through this basis statement, you'll see we've essentially accepted most of what GLI requested be changed. There's a few other tweaks, but there's nothing significant that caught my eye. But if you want to discuss anything or have differences of opinions, then Milt will make the changes and republish. So any issues? Okay. So is the motion to approve the basis? What are we voting on?
You're voting to republish the rules. It's beyond under 20-day deadline for the adoption after the comment period. So you would, if you wish to do so, make a motion to approve the rules for public publication, including those edits made pursuant to the comments from the last couple of minutes.
Okay. All right, so to sum up, the motion will be to republish the modified rules, chapter 19, as modified in this basis statement. Yes, okay. Chief March.
Aye.
Ms. Bickmore.
Aye.
Ms. Main Boynton.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well, so Milt will get that out, and then in June, hopefully, will be final passage. All right, 13, a little more involved. These are the rules for the new universal exclusion list. So Milt, correct me if I'm wrong, the point is that all the lists, there'll be one list, one state list for all the various gambling offerings.
Yeah, by statute, we're gonna have one universal list, which the board will oversee, even though it will also include ADW, fantasy, and sports wagering. So once we've done this package here, then I'll go back in and change fantasy and sports wagering. I'm not sure that we have to change ADW because ADW is a part of Title VIII, but I'll check into that.
And so we got comments. These comments were due in December. We got comments from Lori Manson, from AdCare, and from DraftKings, which operates one of the sports betting apps. So these two, based on what we decide, if there'll be modifications to the rules, will be republished again, and for another comment period, and then we'll deal with it at the next meeting. So you'll see in the basis statement what the comments were, and then in red, a proposed board response. So I think we should probably go through these, because we haven't seen them before.
Mhm.
So, let's do that. But I think we need to, because we haven't seen it. Uh, so first page, I'm just going in order. There's a comment about whether this would apply to, in-person, sports wagering. And my understanding is that could be taken care of either in the sports wagering rules and or adding in person here. I mean, if we're doing one, I think we should add in person to the rules, which would be a slight change.
I agree.
So I think in like section 2, you got casinos, slot machine facilities, internet wagering platforms or applications. Somewhere in there, you would add sports wagering facility. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
All right. The next comments, section 3.3, this has to do with how a request could be made, and DraftKings proposed some language about, make it via a hyperlink on their website or on their app, which makes sense. So I think that language works. Anyone disagree? Okay. All right, 3.1 point C. This is again about request for self-exclusion. There's sort of a long comment here from DraftKings. And so we're gonna make the hyperlink change above. So we don't, is that what? No, that's what you're referencing.
Yes.
All right. Just making it clear, like they don't want to host the form. They want to make it that you can click and then go. So that's the intent. Make that clear. All right, the next one's interesting. 3.3 A1E about social security number. Whether it's the full number or the last four. I would think last four is safer, but right?
Yeah, and we can still do what we need to do with the last 4 digits.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so. All right, then 3.3 A1F, there's a comment from Lori about gender options. Right now the law is, well, as long as we're complying with whatever the law is. So I trust the AAGs and Milt to figure it out.
Yeah, that's why I put in there for the board response only with the requirement by law. So we'll check that out. If it is, we'll add it. If not, we'll leave it alone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where this falls in terms of the Human Rights Act and,
Follow the law.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so then you'll see this comment a few times, but this is 3.3 A1F, request for self-exclusion about the mobile operator, is concerned about collecting physical descriptions of people, even though casinos would have to do that for the exclusion list. And our proposal is to reject that comment because it's one application, one form. We're creating one master list. So that makes sense to me. Because I guess if you had a mobile operator collect it, they didn't have physical descriptions, and they show up at the casino, they may not know who the person is. I don't know.
Or in
Just
the
trying to-
case of sports wagering, I generate an account on a sports wagering app and then I walk into an in-person. Right? They have to have the ability to.
Yeah.
To utilize
Identify,
that.
right.
And again, we can't have a separate form for each one. We're trying to incorporate this into one, so.
Okay, and then similar, the next 3.2 about, collecting a government issued ID. We're creating one form, so, we're gonna reject that comment. There was a comment on 3.3A2, asking about if we're harmonizing the terms of sports wagering to casino. And yeah, so it looks like Milt, you're gonna update the sports wagering rules.
Yep.
All right,
Once these are adopted, then I'll have to go into the fantasy, sports wagering, ADW. I'll have to update according to your direction through this.
yeah, all right, so this is an interesting one, that we may have comments on. So 3.3A4C, the current language, asks that the person signing the form, acknowledge that they are requesting self-exclusion, that they're a problem gambler. And there's some concerns with that language, because there might be other reasons for self-excluding, or maybe they don't want to identify as such. So I don't know how folks feel about that. Looks like the law does state that you have to define standards for exclusion and removal. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a different way of doing it. Any thoughts?
My only comment I would say that back in 2004, probably this was a copy and paste from another state. And I'm not sure if that other state had an actual requirement that you had to disclose that you were actually a problem gambler or not, but I don't think we have it in our statute. Phil,
I would say, provided that there's no statutory requirement that I am missing. If they want to be excluded, they're excluded. I
right,
mean,
right. To acknowledge that you're a
Whatever.
problem gambler, I think is really irrelevant.
Yeah.
If you're not there to self-exclude.
Whatever your reason,
yeah.
you might be broke.
Yeah.
So I think, provided there's nothing statutory that bars us from taking it out, I would take it out. And so essentially accepting the comments, on it. All right, 3.3A4D, you can see in red the proposed language. Fine. All right, 4.5, exception to the prohibition on being on the gaming floor for individuals on the self-exclusion list. And Lori had some pointers, which looks like Milt, you're proposing that need to be updated in the sports betting rules.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Next one, same thing about gender. follow whatever the law is. Um, all right, 1B, and 5 and 6, it's just changing some language so that we're using operators throughout. So the proposal is to accept the comment and make those changes, do that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not clear on what the expiration date or return date is.
Yeah, so the way it's set up now, if you, in the middle of the month, say in the middle of, the current month that we're in, what are we in, April?
Yeah,
Um,
day.
if you exclude today, instead of us doing 365 days, so forth and so on, what we did, and because instead of it, us looking and having to track in the middle of the month each time when somebody comes off the list, is that we just extended it out to the end of the month that you sign up. So each month we go through it one time and you're removed. So that's why we specifically put a date on there versus the actual 365 days. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's fine. Gets into the meaning of a year, which, believe it or not, I've litigated over. Life choices we make. So that's fine.
And on the form, it actually says this is the day that you can return.
Yeah.
So they're signing off on something that they agree with.
Perfect. All right. The next comment, again, has to do with harmonizing the sports wagering rules.
Yeah.
You're gonna do that.
Yes, sir.
The next one, again, sort of using operator, we'll make that change. Same as 8.2B. And then make sure we're defining operator in the up above in the definition section. And so that operator includes all the various ones. All right, so then forfeiture of winnings, 9.1. I wasn't even aware of this. There's no requirement in ADW in fantasy to intercept those winnings.
No.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good luck.
All right. Well, hey, the legislature makes policy. So, but so we'll accept that comment and make that change. Again, operator accepting. Yep. And same with the last one.
Yeah.
All right.
Good job.
Thanks, Lori, for your comments. For going through those. So Milt, you've got this republished.
I'll
See what
update the
comes up.
proposed text and publish it for 30-day written 30-day
Okay,
comment.
and
Yeah.
so we should move to publish as amended, I suppose.
Yes,
All right,
I believe so. Phil, is that good? Or read?
Then
Okay.
so moved.
1 second.
all right, take a vote. Chief March.
Aye.
Ms. Bickmore.
Aye.
All right, Miss Main Boynton.
Yes, aye.
I'm an aye as well. All right, so Milt will get that done. Any new business? None here. All right, board business. We have a new board member. Welcome. Glad the governor and the VLA committee could get that done, so you could be here today. Yeah, I'll also just add, last week I was in Denver and had the opportunity to visit Monarch Casino in Blackhawk. So fantastic property. If anyone has a chance to get out there, took a tour and, you know, saw what they're doing out there. It's very cool. They also have the state's only bank of outdoor slot machines on a little patio.
Try that here.
Somehow they finagled that. So that's where folks go to smoke and play. Interesting. Not sure how popular that would be here in the winter, but so be it. All right. Any public comment? Lori, any updates?
No, Megan's on.
Okay.
Oh, good.
All right, go ahead, Megan.
Hi. I have a couple slides, if I'm able to share my screen. I need to, you made a co-host or no, it looks like I'm good. Okay. Is that? Okay. Are you able to see my slides or do you see other things?
Yep, got it.
Okay, so sorry, I just ran downstairs. I'm on vacation as soon as I'm done here, so I've been trying to get some stuff done, so a little out of breath. So anyways, thank you so much for having me. It's not seen. There we go. Get my notes back up here. Okay. So good morning, or almost, yes, still morning. Thank you for inviting me to provide an update on the Gambling Addiction Prevention and Treatment Fund. My name is Megan Scott, and I'm the Substance Use Prevention Program Manager at the Maine CDC. And my team oversees the gambling work, the contract with AdCare, and manages this fund. So I was asked to come today to give an update on where we are with spending the funding, and that's coming into our program from sports wagering, and to discuss why we haven't spent more of it to date. So this morning, I'll describe how the state allotment process works and describe what we have done for the last 2 years to ramp up our efforts with anticipation of increased funding and what we have planned for the next fiscal year. So first, for those that weren't at the meeting in August, my division director at the time had explained how the state process of allocating funds worked, especially when we're dealing with a special revenue fund, like we are with the Gambling Addiction Prevention and Treatment Fund. It works a little bit different in state government. It is a slow and very often frustrating process for those like us and like Lori that are really anxious to get to work. So essentially, just because the funding is in the account does not mean that we have allotment or permission to spend it. The fund has a baseline budget allotment of $98,127, and I went through too many slides, I'm sorry. There we go. And so that is how much the legislature has granted for the account. So, and that is all we're allowed to spend at this time, even though there's over $700,000 in the account right now. So one way to understand this is to think about a credit card limit. So while I may have $40,000 in the bank, say Capital One, they've only given me a credit limit of, let's say, $2,000. So even though I might have more than enough money in the bank to charge more than $2,000, I can't spend more than my credit limit until I'm approved for a credit limit increase. So that's kind of a way to think about this. So in order to increase what we are permitted to spend, there's two things that we can do. The legislature can increase the allotment amount by request and approval of a budget initiative, and this is always the preference. Or a financial order can be submitted and signed by the governor. This is short term and done by fiscal year. So a financial order is not the best way to increase allotment and should only be used sporadically so as not to circumvent the legislative intent and process. So again, this is a special revenue account and the quarterly deposit amounts vary, as you all know. We cannot spend more than we have available in cash or preemptively allocate funding that we may not have yet. So this has really limited what we've been able to commit to preemptively. So we continue to monitor the cash in this account so that we can gather enough data to support requesting an increase in allotment through a budget initiative. So what have we been doing in the meantime? So in FY24, understanding that sports betting would be coming online, we proactively amended AdCare's contract to include an additional $35,000 using other state funds to make the problem gambling services coordinator, Lori, full-time. And amazingly, she was doing all the work she was before on a part-time basis. So we wanted to make sure that she was full-time. And then we also included funding for mini grants to encourage organizations to implement problem gambling prevention and recovery initiatives in the state. And one of those mini grants created a youth problem gambling prevention video, and one started a weekly problem gambling support meeting. Our priority is always to make sure that anyone who is ready for treatment has access to it. So with Lori's help, we're constantly monitoring the budget and included some funding then to make sure that we were not going to run out, so that we could continue to meet that need for those that were ready for treatment. For fiscal year 25, we submitted a financial order to increase both AdCare and 211's budgets. At that time, we still did not have a full year of deposits into the fund, but we felt comfortable asking for a modest increase. So with that increase, we were able to expand treatment services. Any person in Maine concerned with problem gambling is eligible for 4 no-cost counseling sessions for the purpose of screening, discussing options, and planning next steps. This service is available for any person who is gambling or for any individuals that are concerned about the gambling of a loved one. And after 4 sessions, if it's determined that they would benefit from ongoing counseling and can't afford to pay, their treatment would be covered at no cost through the Maine Gambling Addiction Treatment Network. We also added funding to support access to GameFin, which provides no-cost virtual financial counseling for individuals and their families with gambling-related financial problems. We also established a relationship with Evive for Mainers to have a year of access free for the app. Evive offers personalized tools to help people wherever they're at in their relationship with gambling. It offers tools on how to gamble more safely, provides tips for cutting back, or offers support to quit. And then we also increased 211's budget. They've long served as Maine's problem gambling helpline with only $2,500 per year of funding support. So we anticipated increased calls, so we wanted to make sure that we increased their budget. They answer calls from 1-800-GAMBLER, the national hotline, as well as direct calls and texts. The increase in funding will support an additional 0.25 FTE that will focus on problem gambling work at 211. It will enhance the monthly reporting that we receive from them on the gambling calls, and it requires an annual staff training that Lori will provide, and they've actually recorded it so that it will always be available anytime new staff start. So then looking ahead to fiscal year 26, that starts July 1st, and we this week are submitting a financial order to increase allotment for the fiscal year. AdCare's budget will increase to about $481,000 per year, and their contract will be amended to include, very excitingly, increased staffing capacity. We'll be adding a problem gambling prevention services coordinator who will lead the development and integration of prevention services within our statewide prevention network. And that will include a training institute for our prevention workforce. They'll be adding an AmeriCorps Vista position, and that position will partner with recovery centers to focus on the intersection of problem gambling and substance use disorder. It'll allow for increased administrative and marketing support for the promotion of self-exclusion, the treatment network, the helpline, and also will increase the promotion and marketing budget for things like partnering with some of the local sports teams. Additional funds will be dedicated to the treatment network. We'll provide a very long overdue rate increase for providers. Lori is going to be working on a learning collaborative for treatment network providers, but also offering a stipend so that they can attend that training without having to lose financial other opportunities. So it's a good incentive for them to continue to increase their education. Lori has always offered a webinar series, but this will allow for its expansion. Other things, this will allow Lori and the new staff to travel to conferences. There's so much stuff going on nationwide, and I mean, Lori definitely has her finger on the pulse, but to be able to attend, and I would say probably Lori, don't get upset at me, but I'm sure, present, share what we've learned here at conferences, It'll also allow Lori and the other staff to have a cell phone so that they can enhance the self-exclusion and texting capacity without having to use their personal numbers. We're also including funding to support the behavioral risk factor surveillance system and Maine integrated youth health survey questions, so that we can continue to monitor gambling rates and trends. Our work is always guided by data, and so these are two really good sources of data that we have in the state that we're hoping we can enhance with some of this funding as well. And we will also provide some funding to continue to provide free resources through our prevention store. And again, continue with GameFin. So this is my last slide. And so I just want to kind of give you a sense of in fiscal year 25, where we started. The current cash balance in the account is $768,862. To date, sports wagering has deposited $620,709. We haven't gotten, we're expecting a payment for April. We haven't received that yet. And in FY26, we're planning to spend $530,000. So that is all I have, but I'm happy to answer questions if anybody has any.
Any questions from the board? So Megan, do you feel like you're getting the money to spend that you need? Like when you make the request?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're using the financial order right now. Obviously our goal is to get that budget initiative so that we know we have a certain amount of money that we can count on every year. And that would obviously allow for expansion of, primarily, or not primarily, it would allow for expansion of a lot of services. But, our hope is eventually to get some of the funding out into the communities to enhance the prevention work. We always want to make sure that we're meeting the treatment need. So, the budget initiative is definitely the priority, and we'll continue to work on that. But I think for now, working closely with AdCare, Lori really, like I said, has her finger on the pulse of what the needs are in Maine and what we have the capacity for. So I think, ramping up the way that we have is always preferable. It's really hard to go from $100,000 a year up to $700,000 and do the work well and do the work that's needed. And so I think this gradual increase based on the capacity that we have and taking the time to work with other states, find out what has worked there, what could potentially be good for Maine. I have no doubt that we'll be able to continue to access the funding as we're ready.
Okay. Please let the board know, or let Lori know, who will tell us if we need to get involved either with the VLA committee or with the governor's office to make sure you have access to the funds you need, because it's there.
Right.
It's going to continue to be there. So,
right.
All right. Well, I appreciate the detail as to what's coming ahead. I think it all makes sense. Will be really useful.
Yeah, I'm happy to come, give between Lori and I, happy to give regular updates. I mean, we're really excited to have this funding to be able to expand the services. So, always happy to share the good work. So, please, anytime, happy to come and present. And right, if you can do anything to make the state contracting and, budget process faster, that is always appreciated. But, we've been trying. We just, continue to do what we can. But thank you again for allowing me the chance to come and talk to you.
All right. Any other questions for Megan? Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. Any other public comment? We'll start in the room. Okay. On Zoom? Nope. All right. So our next meeting, confirm with the Hollywood folks. June's still good for us to come up there? Okay. So June 17th will be at Hollywood. And then August, the plan is to be in the new boardroom in Augusta. All of this pending, Lord knows what will happen between then and now. But hopefully we'll see everyone in June at Hollywood. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Again.
All right, let's take a vote. Chief March.
Aye.
Ms. Bickmore.
Aye.
Ms. Main Boynton.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. 11:28. We are adjourned. I didn't bring